Hi, my name is Andrew Dunn. I'm a student at Simpson College in Indianola. I study international relations and political science, and I was wondering what your plan would be to sort of reclaim the United States' stance on the international floor with Donald Trump taking an exit out on things like the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, TPP, and environmental agreements, and trade agreements, and screwing most things up. So what is your plan to sort of not just go back into the foray, but also make the United States be a leader on the international stage?
Yeah, great question. I sometimes think about this moment from the perspective of the future. Let's say we're 20, 30, 50 years down the line, and we're reading in our history book about the year 2019. This is a moment that the world was asking a question of itself: is the future authoritarian, or is the future democratic? It's a serious open question abroad, and maybe increasingly here at home as well. And in the face of that question, this is what our president has done. He has embraced the dictators, the strongmen, and the authoritarians all over the world. Vladimir Putin, who we now know beyond the shadow of a doubt, invaded and involved himself in our democracy in 2016. That is the person that our president called after the release of the Mueller report, and to whom he described that report as a hoax, giving him the green light to further involve himself in our democracy and the next election. But it's not just Putin, it's MBS in Saudi Arabia, who is bombing Yemen into the last century. Hospitals, school buses, civilians, precipitating the greatest humanitarian crisis the world has seen since World War II, and doing it with the complicity and the direct aid of the United States of America. It's Erdogan in Turkey, it's Duterte in the Philippines, and at the same time he has turned his back on those allies, the friendship that was literally forged in that sacrifice that I described that took place 75 years ago, whether it's NATO or the European Union or even our trading partners. He's about to impose a 5% tariff on Mexico, the destination for the corn and the soybeans and the pork that is grown and raised in this state. And at home, he defies our democratic institutions, makes fun of the judiciary, calls the press not the best defense against tyranny, but the enemy of the people. So to your question, in the spirit of your question, if we're going to meet the challenge of climate change, if we're going to ensure that we have true nuclear non-proliferation around the world, if we're going to extricate ourselves from these wars that we've been in for some cases decades, if we're going to elevate the priority of Latin America so that we invest in solutions in the Northern Triangle to ensure that no family ever has to make a 2,000-mile journey fleeing the deadliest countries on the face of the planet, then we're going to have to signal to the rest of the world that the future is strongly democratic, and we're going to return to our traditional democratic allies. And in the strength that we have through our partnerships and friendships with them, yes, we will take on China, and we will win. Yes, we will take on our foreign policy challenges peacefully, and we will resolve them. And yes, we will make sure that the United States remains the indispensable nation. I want to make sure that in our administration, we live up to that potential and to that promise and the challenge that this president has presented for us. Thanks for asking the question. Appreciate it.